Black fatigue is when I can hear you 10 miles away in Walmart with your 5 kids. Black fatigue is when you have no home training and you have no idea how to act in public. And a lot of it is culture. I've been in the hood, I've been in the schools and the projects where I was the only white girl there, and I can 100% guarantee you that it's culture. But majority of y'all know someone who has been unalived by another black person, way more than any instance of a black person being unjustifiably unalived by the police. That's black fatigue, as well as donating to Carmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. When you aren't able to hold your own community accountable, that's a problem. We're not going to sit here and act like this is new now, because now white people are speaking out. Especially when we've been told for so long to feel sorry for our whiteness and that we have white tea privilege, whatever the that means, for something no white person alive today did, and no black person alive today has experienced. There is no way that y'all thought that we would be quiet for this long. You know, having us on our knees, kissing BLM's feet, still begging for the reparations that you are not owed because you did not go through what your ancestors went through. Nobody cared about race until you started blaming white people for all of your current problems. We're just untolerating.
The overwhelming.
We ain't gonna talk about all that, all right? I got you. The United States policy towards Native American had continued to evolve after the American Revolution. George Washington and Henry Knox believed that the Native Americans were equal, but said that their society was inferior. Washington formulated a policy to encourage the civilizing process. Washington had a 6-point plan for the civilization process. Okay, let's get going, man. A historian wrote that once the Indians adopted the practice of private property, built homes, farmed, and educated their children, embraced Christianity, these Native Americans would win acceptance from white Americans. The United States appointed agents like Benjamin Hawkins to live among the Native Americans and teach them how to live like whites. I might be tripping. Benjamin Hawkins seen here on his plantation teaches Creek Native American how to use European technology. Okay, this is the thing. In the late 18th century, reformers starting with Washington and Knox supported educating Native children and adults in efforts to civilize or otherwise assimilate Native Americans. The Civilization Fund Act, also known as the Indian Civilization Act, was an act passed down by the United States Congress on March 3rd, 1819. The act encouraged activities of benevolent societies in providing education for Native Americans and authorized an annuity to stimulate the civilization process. Need I say more? Take that same situation right there, right? And bring it here with the uncivilized black people of America, right? That's the same problem y'all had with the Indians back then. Now tell me something I don't know. Because you know black people already think they're Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? There's already been some rumbles. So tell me something. Are y'all still trying to do this same? Is the same agenda still in play, right? Or are y'all inheriting? You see what I'm saying? Are y'all inheriting this mindset?
I'm about to play you a clip from 1940 made by the U.S. Army Corps that if they made it today, it would get them fired and possibly investigated by this current administration. Are you ready?
Now, friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
This fellow seems to know what he's talking about.
What are we real Americans going to do about it? You'll find it right here in this little pamphlet. The truth about Negroes and foreigners. The truth about the Catholic Church.
Do you believe in that kind of talk?
That all makes pretty good sense to me.
I'm speaking to you as an American. And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? Without Negroes. Without alien foreigners. Without Catholics. Without Freemasons. You know these people.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason.
You see the Mason dude? See, I think the Mason dude represents the young people, right? Who haven't ever heard this kind of talk. Because they're young people. And for that to have an effect, you see how that had a direct effect on him as soon as he heard it? Because he was okay with it. Ooh, 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 ooh. Until he said something about the Masons. And then once he said something about the Masons, then it's like, that's the same thing with the Latinos and the Mexicans. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with the immigration thing that's going on right now. Black people been so much stuff been said about black people, but nobody had a problem with it until it's them. Until you in the hot seat. Once you're in the hot seat, then it's like, dang, now I see what they was talking about. That's the whole point of that. That's how I feel. But then again, it's just my opinion, y'all. Just mine.
Don't Be a Sucker is technically Antifa propaganda film produced by the United States Army. It follows a Freemason Mike who buys into a prejudiced beliefs of a demagogic street speaker until the speaker denounces Masons, a Hungarian refugee that tells Mike how the same prejudiced belief led to the rise of that right there in Germany. The film argues that both majority and minority groups are harmed by that right there, and that Americans must unify against fascism regardless of race, religion, national origin. Don't Be a Sucker saw a resurgence of popularity after the United rally in 2017. Do y'all remember what happened in 2017? Talking about Americans and these foreigners and these Negroes coming in and taking all of our positions that we more deserving of. Sound familiar? Ain't one Kirk Franklin. I can't remember what Kirk it was, but that's what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing right there. You can't tell me otherwise.
Hey, that fella's talking about me.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about...
A lot of people had a privilege of being with it or ignoring it until it impacts them. Some people in the society get so lost in the sauce of individualism that it allows you to be selfish. And through your selfishness, you're able to deny people's humanity or at least try to trivialize the debate about it. That content made by the army will be considered propaganda that pushed domestic terrorism. Think about that.
What about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people, all of us.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
What were you doing there?
I was a professor at the university. I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us. Made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it. And it isn't going to be you.
Antifa just mean you against this. Ultra-nationalist authoritarian political ideology that centralizes power under a dictatorial leader, suppressing all opposition and exalting the nation or race above individual rights. It is fundamentally opposed to democratic liberalism, communism, socialism, championing traditional social values and militarism. Now here's some core characteristics. Tell me they don't sound familiar. Extreme nationalism, dictatorial leader, militarism and violence, suppression of the opposition, state control, fear of difference, rejection of rationalism. What's wrong with being against that? Why would the government say that being against that is considered domestic terrorism? Are they admitting they that?
There were others who spoke for truth, and I am proud to say that educators were among them.
We must judge each man as an individual and not by the color of his skin or his eyes or by the length of his nose. Remember that. And remember that there is no master race. That is a scientific truth. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
And yes, I know Antifa is not an organization, it's an ideology, but that's the point. Whoever they feel like has the ideology gets to become this label they've said is bad. They can say it's anybody. I'll be clear, I'm not romanticizing the 1940s. There was a whole bunch of different flavors and different characteristics of fascism that existed that our people been dealing with since before the 1940s. What I'm making a point is that the federal government claimed to be against fascism at that time. And now, if the same statement is said, it is not seen the same way it was in 1940.
Kill 20 people, one person. And guess what? It was white on white crime, Oz. It was Italian on Italian crime. No federal government, no tanks, no National Guard. Well, then how did they stop the Italians from committing crime? If they didn't send the National Guard to stop Italians from committing crime in Chicago, how did they stop it? Because clearly now the Italians aren't committing crime anymore. The Italians aren't gangbangers anymore. Black people are gangbangers. Instead of the North Side gang and the South Side gang of Chicago, now you have the gangster disciples and the black disciples and the vice lords in Chicago.
Right.
How did Italians stop being criminals?
Wow.
Because maybe we could do the same thing. They didn't send the Marines in to stop them.
Right.
That I do know.
Right.
That's a big fact.
You know how they stopped all of that? The labor unions.
Right.
The Masons Union, the Construction Union, the Electrician Union. They built streets and roads and gave Italians those jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs stop crime, not the Marines. Kill 20 people, one person. And guess what?
You are one of my strongest soldiers. You don't
that's
get
your
to
motherfucking problem right there. Look
You
at
don't
me, guy.
get to give up. You don't get to give up.
I'm tired. You keep putting me on the
Everyone's
motherfucking
tired.
front line like I'm a fucking
You're a warrior.
Cyclops or some
You
shit.
are a warrior.
I'm a human being, bitch.
Don't curse. Don't
you
curse.
know what? You
Didn't
know
I
what?
let you get to
Okay,
2021?
that doesn't matter.
It does matter. No,
I'm
it does.
tired, God. You beating the shit out of me this year. And you think it's and you up there having with the fruits and the motherfucking
No,
peace
I'm not.
and shit.
No,
I'm
I'm
down
not.
here fucking fight for my fucking life.
Don't I always show up for you?
You do show up after I'm almost long gone.
No. You are one of my strongest soldiers.
I'm not laughing because it's funny, bro. I'm laughing because you know how many days I felt like this? And it's like, man, don't question God. Don't question God. You see what I'm saying? But it seemed like, man, it dragged me through the mud right now, man. That's how you be feeling. When the only thing you hear is keep your faith in God, trust God. And that be part of the test right there. Seeing if you're gonna give up. Don't give up, man. Don't give up. Trust God. Trust God.
The anti-blackness is killing you. It's eroding the society. When you go against us, you go against yourself. And we ain't never did shit to it. Name it.
That's
You
true.
can't go nowhere in America and say a black person brought you there against your will. You can't go nowhere in the world. You can't go nowhere in the world and say a black person brought you there against your will. You can't go nowhere in the world
They're ignorant.
and say black people stole this land from me.
Oh, their character.
Can't go nowhere in the world and say black people forced me to assimilate into this religion, into this
They're
language.
loud.
Can't go nowhere in the world and say black people changed our culture, changed our last name, and stole our land. You can't go nowhere in the world and say we did that. And the niggas who you can say that, that's who you want to be like. Yet we create everything. Everything that makes your life here in America is because of us, nigga. Black Americans ain't got no culture. Civil rights. The civil rights and liberties that you get to enjoy as a person of color. And not just black men, not just black women, queer black men and women, trans black men and women. We on the brink of another renaissance. You niggas anti-blackness is gonna kill you because you want to be like that white man so much. And all the white man wants is death and destruction. And the black people keep creating ways to live. Come on, son. What we doing?
Just did the knowledge, son.
Black history is American history. The anti-blackness is the most American thing you can do while being dismissive of the contributions that made the rights you get to enjoy and benefit from possible. And black people are the reason you have in America in the first place. The reason. The reason. The reason! If you're black right now, put your motherfucking fist in the air and say, I'm the reason.
Oh shit, I'm about to break my computer. I'm the reason.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. Anti-blackness.
But yeah, boy. I'm the motherfucking reason. Stop saying. I'm about to break my computer about that. You hear me? That was genuine right there, man. That was a genuine reaction, man. Deontay Kyle, man. Deontay Kyle, man. Y'all go follow that boy, man. I love his content. I love his content, man. He gonna give it to you raw and uncut.
Politico published their report today under the headline, I Love Hitler, Leaked Messages Expose Young Republicans' Racist Chat. Politico reports leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Politico published their report today under the headline.
You know what's so crazy? Because I just found this out this morning taking my son to school. You know, we sitting out there in the car, we're listening to the radio. We sitting in the car listening to the radio, right? You know what I'm saying? Just listening to, and you know, Charlemagne, he get on there with that donkey of the day. He got to give you the donkey of the day. And I guarantee you that, I'm pretty sure that was the donkey of the day. But the thing is, you know, we have a lot of stigma, you know what I'm saying, around is racism dead? Like, and the effects of racism and slavery and everything that the black people go through. You know what I'm saying? The black people go through, right? And a lot of times the black people come up with the story and say, hey, white people are driving us to this point. And the white folks are saying, hey man, y'all can't blame everything on white people. Y'all can't blame everything on white people. And to a point, yeah. To an extent, yeah, you have a point. But the thing I'm asking people to pay attention to is the young ears. Because this a young group of people, right? Supposedly a new group of adults. And we're already starting to understand the people who are going to be in charge of the communities, who are going to be over teaching other children. The thing that I say, my stepson, who is 14 years old, my son, who is 14 years old, has to hear this and think, dang, it's stuff like that still going on? You know, we only read about this in books, but dang, you still got people that really want to kill us and hurt us. What they called us? The watermelon people? What they called us? Monkeys? Understand this is trauma also in the making. So for people to say you can't be traumatized based off an issue that happened a long time ago, you sure can. Especially if you have people who have ancestors on the side that did something to you, steady bigging it up and portraying themselves as the aggressors. This is why black people are more on the defensive side, but it's more aggressive defensive. And I know people like to say we come up with a lot of excuses, but today's black people, I'm going to tell you the mindset. The mindset is, man, we're not finna let them do that. I don't know how this happened to our family. I don't know how this happened to our ancestors. But the mindset of black people today is, if that did happen, we need to always be on our guard to make sure that never happens again. This is what makes black people act erotic. I'm going to give it to you. When you grow up listening to stuff like that, and I'm going to be the living proof. I'm going to be the 100% living proof of it. I ain't never went out my way. I'm going to tell you 100%. I've never been walking down the street, looked up and said, oh, there's a white guy. Let me go make him mad. Let me go mess with him. Oh, that white guy, he just pulled into a handicap parking. Let me go make sure he has a handicap sticker. That's not something I'm doing. But I can guarantee you, I've been on the other end of those very two same issues that I've mentioned. Somebody chased me down by parking into a handicapped parking space like they was an officer of the law. And it's like this the stuff that we don't like. Because we still feel like we being somebody trying to control us, even though we're so-called free. You see what I'm saying? I've had white people go out their way to say something to you. And it's like, I'm not even, what? And then when I be like, hey, man, what you talking about? What you talking about, man? Then it's like, see how they trick you into that position to where you look like the aggressor? Nah, I'm just telling you, back up off me, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm just saying, back up off me, bro. What you doing? Man, you don't know me. That's the thing that we don't like. Y'all, a lot of people trying to tell us how to live. A lot of people try to tell us how to live. White guy tell me, hey, your music's kind of loud. That's the regular setting on the radio. I don't got no system in my car. But you gonna tell me about my music. Bro, I'm not finna be here but 2 seconds. Keep it pushing. But y'all would tell us that we're just complaining about something that been ended. No, it's still going on. The agenda to keep us oppressed is what we still see. And then we get the backlash for bringing it to the light because people don't want that side to be out no more. Then start teaching y'all children. Stop having these private episodes, these private discussions about how y'all hate black people. Stop having these private discussions about what y'all used to call black people and the things that y'all used to do. Because nobody's teaching them these things. Nobody's teaching them these things. They're getting it from their people. somewhere in one of these households, they're having the discussion about black people for no reason.